welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Furnicus. Say what? Charette.
Dr. Gordon, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I am good.
Yes.
How's the week going for you? I hear you're working hard.
Week is going great, Doc G.
Oh, okay.
I did some gardening.
Oh, man.
This past weekend.
Got more gardening.
Let me tell you. Oh, yeah.
Now, you still don't, there are no fruiting plants, right?
No. Well, no.
This is all just to have synergy of life in your patio.
My mom gave me a couple plants that I'm absolutely trying to keep alive for the rest of my life. So there's a couple of those. There's a couple of plants that my wife doesn't take care of. She just totally neglects, so I take care of those.
Neglectful parent.
But the big thing was the century plant had children, so I'm a plant father. So I had to uproot those guys. I guess I'm a grandfather.
Yeah, because you're already a father with the original century plant. Now you're a grandfather.
I am a century plant grandfather.
Wow. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's some responsibility right there.
Yes, it is.
Well, I mean, just like your glamorous gardening, Mike, I think some folks think, they have an idea of us. They have an idea of us outside of the show, cruising around the Hollywood Hills in our Bentleys, going from one exclusive party to the next. That's what they think, right? That's the idea that they have of me and you, but that's not it. That's not really what we do, No. And despite the overwhelming success of the show,
so true,
it doesn't afford too many perks. But every now and then, there is a perk, There is a perk. And this past weekend, you got a little perk from the show.
I did. Yes.
You got to.
Thank you, Dr. G. I appreciate it.
Oh, no need to thank me. I didn't do anything. You got to check out. You, Mike Charette, got to check out the Yellow Card Third Eye Blind concert there in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Now this was at Fountain Blue.
Brand new hotel.
Now I've never been to Fontainebleau there in Vegas. I've been to it in Miami. They're owned by the same ownership group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one in Miami is very classy. So I'm guessing the one in Vegas is pretty classy.
Yeah, it's like the future.
Oh man!
Where you walk in, it's like I'm walking into a minute. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Yeah, it's like some kind of. It's just futuristic.
Now,
Doc G.
I mean, the theater is a small part of this massive conglomerate of a hotel. The theater, though, I looked it up, 4,000 person theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4,000 person theater. Now, remember, they're probably listening. Did they give you nice seats, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really good seats.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. In the front, were you on side? What was the vantage point?
Vantage point. We were on the right side, really close to the door, which was nice. We were able to get in,
just
and get
exit,
out
for,
for merch and bathroom stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
And then, and then we were a couple rows up from row A. I can't remember the row. I think it was and then they had we were on the first level.
Nice.
It would have been cool to sit up top, though. I like sitting up top. I like the nosebleeds sometimes,
Well, I wouldn't really call in a theater. I wouldn't really call that nosebleeds.
Not nosebleeds, but I like those upper.
You feel like you're above people.
Yeah.
When you're in the box, you're like, look at all those peasants down there.
Yeah,
that's nice. Well, so Yellow Card comes out first.
I
was thinking about this. We talked about this, I think, about a year ago. at Drake concerts. Some ladies throwing undergarments on stage, which probably doesn't happen anymore thanks to Kendrick. But in this concert, did you see any undergarments being thrown?
No, I didn't see anything.
Okay. Did you throw your underpants on stage?
No.
Okay. All right. Now, I've got to imagine they save Ocean Avenue for the closer. That was the closer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, when they went into that one, did any undergarments come out then?
No, not that I recall.
Oh, come on! But it brought the house down, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, everybody went crazy.
Now, is there a specified? I'm not. There's a violinist, right?
Yeah, there is.
Now,
yeah, he was great.
Now, does he get like front row in Ocean Avenue? Does he just jump in there, or does he stay in the same spot? Is it just sort of like?
Nah, there was a couple levels to the stage, and he was all over the place.
He was
utilizing everything.
Yeah. I feel like he's a bouncy character. You know?
Yeah.
You know what's wild about that? That album, Ocean Avenue, that was their 4th album.
Wow.
Yeah, they had 3 albums before that. Like that just, did not hit. And then that album just boom, Mm-hmm. Like that song alone has like 500 million streams on Spotify. It's insane.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like just the times, like when it was like really when Hollister and Abercrombie and Jack Johnson and the whole hookah shell necklace thing. It was just a really perfect,
beachy vibe.
What do you think? Yeah, it was just a beachy vibe.
Beachy vibe, pop punk there, all of that combined.
Rainbow flip flops.
They had both of it. They had the beach vibe. They had the pop punk. They had it all, man.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Well, now Third Eye Blind comes out. Where are they playing "Semi-Charmed Kind of Life"? Is that the first jam?
I think that was like their opener.
Because that's that's the amper up, Do 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 do. Yeah. Got to get everybody up.
I think that was one of the. Well, no, he actually didn't play that first. He kind of came out and did like a solo thing, and then they kind of warmed up. But then I think like 2 or 3 songs in, Semi-Charmed Kind of Life.
Was Jumper or How's It Gonna Be last? What did they do last?
How's It Gonna Be, I am pretty sure was last, and I think Jumper was also last.
Okay.
Or like second to last. Yeah. He closed it out with 2 bangers.
Talk about an album. That was a debut album for him.
Yeah.
That album comes out, my God, I think that was 97. Woo! Get out of town. Get out of town, man.
So many hits. One thing that I thought was funny, though, was nobody threw any pennies on stage for Third Eye Blind either, Doc G, just in case you were going to ask.
Nope, only for Yellow Card. I didn't think for Third Eye Blind. No offense, guys.
But there was, I guess he had a heckler. And
a heckler?
He was like, do you think I can't hear you? And he's like, I can hear everything that's going on around me. And then he's like, and do you think I'm not going to play Jumper? Because I guess they were yelling out like, play Jumper. And he's like, do you think I'm not going to?
He's not even going to play Jumper. I can't believe it. God, this guy sucks.
I thought that was hilarious, man.
It is.
Like, do you really think I'm not gonna play Jumper?
I guess I gotta say it's alcohol, man. But like when somebody's doing that, you're just like, what kind of moron are you? And how are you? Of course he's gonna play it. He's got to play those 3 songs. If he doesn't play those 3 songs, there's gonna be a riot. Like it's got to happen. But anyways, what do you think was that the best part of the show? What do you think the best part of the show for you was?
Yeah. Well, I definitely enjoyed like, when they play the hits. All the hits were awesome. I think like I said, they played Jumper and How's It Gonna Be like back to back. So that was a nice stretch. But his drummer does a solo. the drummer, which I looked up, he's actually like an original band member. Like he's been in the game with them for the whole time, or most of it. But yeah, he does like a drummer solo. I've never seen that at a concert before, and that was awesome. That was awesome, man.
I mean,
he had like a little beat pad.
Yeah.
That he was also like he was drumming and
putting it in,
playing the beat. Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, well, best thing for our hometown folks, the Jacksonville folks, you can enjoy it yourself.
Say what?
They're gonna be here July 26th. You can listen to Yellow Card, you can listen to Third Eye Blind, you can experience it all just like Mike. And if you want to turn the tables, you can throw your panties on stage.
Yeah, do it. It was a great show. Also, Arizona, the openers, they killed it too. That was a great band. I never heard about them, but they were awesome. Just
for clarification too, I'm only talking about the dudes. Dudes, you can throw your panties. Ladies, you're not invited. I'm sorry.
No way.
Fun fact, Mike. Song Ocean Avenue.
Yeah.
Wrote about Ocean Boulevard in Atlantic Beach, Jacksonville.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a real place.
Awesome.
And in the second verse, he says, there's a place on the corner of Cherry Street we could walk to the beach in our bare feet. That's also in Atlantic Beach.
Oh.
I've rode my bike on both of those streets before.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I've never listened to Ocean Avenue while riding on that road.
Well, you got to change that.
Exactly. I'm missing out on something historic. I got to do it. I got to do it. Mike, while I'm planning out this historic bike ride, you want to fire up the show?
Let's fire up the show, Doc G.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Woo! Mike, we have a fantastic show today. My goodness, the comedian star power. And I'm not talking about Mike, listeners.
Nope.
We have that every week, luckily.
Oh, yeah. We do.
I'm talking about Annie Lederman being on the show. My goodness. Woo! Anniewood. Have you? I'm going to talk to her about this, Mike. She's got these Anniewood and Friends shows at the Comedy House. And like the last one, oh my gosh. It had Bill Burr. It had Craig Robinson.
Legend.
It had Sebastian.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, it just crazy. I was like, what? What? Nuts, man. And then she's there being amazing. So can't wait to talk to her. She's also got several podcasts. Well, she's currently got one podcast, Anniewood, which is more popular than this one. But she's nice enough to come on ours, so we thank her for it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk to her. But first, Mike, we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
That is correct. Mike, don't know if you remember, you were 3 for 3 last week.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think you can do it again.
All right, let's go.
I think you can do it again. Born on June 26, 1993 in Boca Raton, Florida. Her birthday suit wear started acting and singing at a young age. She sang the Star Spangled Banner at a Florida Panthers game when she was 8 years old. She went to L.A. to try and start a singing career when she was 15. She was cast in a Nickelodeon show called Victorious. Her first debut album was Yours Truly, which came out on August 30th, 2013. Its first single was The Way, featuring Mac Miller. She joined Justin Bieber on his Believe tour in 2013. In 2014, she started recording her second album with Max Martin and none other than Benny Blanco as producer.
Say what?
Her second album was My Everything, which came out #1 on the old Billboard 200. It had the singles Problem, Break Free, and Bang Bang. She went on the Honeymoon tour in 2015. In 2016, she started dating Mac Miller. They dated for 2 years, and then surprisingly, she ended up breaking up with him and dating Pete Davidson. 2016, she released her third album, Dangerous Woman. Fourth album was Sweetener. Fifth album was Thank You Next. 2020, her sixth album, Positions, came out, and just this year, her seventh album, Eternal Sunshine came out. She sold over 100 million albums worldwide. She has far surpassed over 100 billion collective streams.
Jeez.
That's billion, not million. 100 billion
Jeez.
collective streams. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Ariana Grande?
Correct, Mike. Yes. Yes, Ariana. My goodness. She, and I mean this in the nicest way, she seems fantastic. She seems unique, Mike.
Yeah.
That would be my explanation. Unique.
Mm-hmm.
Just some of her interviews, I'm like, you came at that at an abstract way. I mean, I guess that's to be expected. You're an artist, you know? But
right.
It just, she seems unique, Mike. That's what I'm going to say, you know?
I'll have to check out some Ariana Grande interviews.
She
I've
also
actually never listened to one.
She seems very nice as well. Some folks pointed out recently in an interview that she did, she completely changed her voice in the middle of the interview.
That's weird.
At one point, there was just this voice change in the interview. I don't know if I would say it was hugely obvious to me, but, you know, I see where they were coming from. Regardless, she's turning, wow, older than I thought, 31. Turning 31. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, who would have thought, man? 31. Does not look 31.
No way. She looks like a little kid.
I was about to say, I'd give her 18.
You're right.
Which, I mean, you know, let's be honest. That's a compliment right there.
For sure.
It's a real compliment. Mike, you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Mike, Emma Stone. You know Emma Stone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She was on the Today Show last week promoting her most recent movie, Kinds of Kindness. Yeah. And recently, there's been some questioning about Emma's name, Mike, because that's not her actual name.
Say what?
Her actual name is Emily Stone, not Emma. Yeah.
Okay.
But when she was signing up for the old Screen Actors Guild, the name Emily Stone was already taken, and she said, quote, it's sort of like when you register a business and you can't have the same name as someone else. So she went with Emma instead of Emily.
Word.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something totally different.
No, it's pretty close. Pretty
Yeah.
close, you know, just a couple of letters there.
Yeah.
Well, when she went on the Today Show, Craig Melvin this past week said, quote, are we still going by Emma or Emily? There's been some confusion over your name. And Emily replied, I combined them right there. And Emma replied, I'm fine either way. I really am. And I got to say, Mike, yeah. I would hope she's capable of answering to another name, considering she does it for her job every day of her life. She's an actress. Like,
Yeah.
do you think Daniel Radcliffe corrects somebody when they call him Harry Potter? No.
No way.
At this point, he just waves a wand at him and keeps on going. Yeah, Harry Potter, you got it. There you go. Sure. Like, come on. She's fine. Mike, if I suddenly started calling you Mark for the show, would you be able to handle it?
Oh, yeah. I've been called Mark so many times in my life, Doc G. If anybody were to call me any other name, it would have been Mark. Yeah. My second name would be a Mark.
Mine was Bob.
Oh, okay.
There was
I don't see it.
Here's the reasoning. It was mainly my dad that called me Bob, and that's our next door neighbor is Bob. So, and he walked with Bob every day. So it was sort of one of those things. He'd come back from walking with Bob, and he'd be like, Bob, let me ask you a question. Ben, whatever. It's close enough, you know? So I get it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Mike, you know Isaiah Thomas, right?
I do. Detroit Pistons.
Mm-hmm. He was on Open Court, a show on NBA TV the other day. Okay. And they asked Isaiah to choose the 1990s top small forward. And he narrowed it down to Scottie Pippen and Grant Hill. And ultimately, Isaiah said that Grant Hill was the better forward in the 1990s. What? No way. Isaiah Thomas, a former Piston, famous for hating the Chicago Bulls, chose another Piston over a Chicago Bull as the best forward in the NBA? What? Who would have thought? Oh, my gosh. Mike, there's about as much bias in that choice as me going, what's the best podcast of the past 20 years? I guess I got to say the Doc G Show. I mean, facts are facts, right? It's just
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we're
Doc G Show.
I mean, when you look at the viewership, pretty much the same, right? Like, it's ridiculous. Who's your favorite forward of the 90s? And you can't say Shaq playing forward, Mike. That doesn't count. Who would you say?
I honestly don't know. I wouldn't even know. Like, I'm terrible with. I know what a center is.
Position,
and
yeah.
I know what the guy who
point guard.
Point guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward. Your power forward, your small forward, folks in between about 6'6" and 6'11". Those folks. You know, give you some good examples of 90s power forwards and forwards. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Sean Kemp, Charles Oakley, Anthony Hardaway. He was a point guard, but he was almost the size of a forward. And so he was in that area of like LeBron James, of Scottie Pippen, the point forward type of person. Yeah. Anyways, we went down
maybe Sean Kemp, I guess. I don't know.
We went down a road no one cares about, Mike. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Mike, I got a headline from For the Win. I don't know what that is. But
I don't either.
Quote, Tom Cruise went to Taylor Swift's Eras Tour in London and seemed to have a fantastic time.
Yeah, he was trading bracelets.
So true.
He was, Mike. And I got to say, of course Tom Cruise had a great time. And it's not because of the concert. It's because it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He has a fantastic time anywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Or at least he seems like he does. He's got that crazy smile plastered on his face 24 hours a day, like he crop dusted a hallway and got away with it. Like, yeah! Like, just, yeah.
Like, he can reach in and be the Mission Impossible guy, like the actual, like any of his characters, like he can actually become them in any dangerous situation.
He's ready to go. He is ready to go.
If
you, Mike, if you were invited to a Taylor Swift concert by Tom Cruise, would you go?
Oh, yes. Are you joking? Why wouldn't I go? Yeah.
How-
It's a Taylor Swift concert.
How much Scientology talk would you take at that concert?
I would take it all. Talk to me about some Scientology.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Then what do the aliens do? Really? That's cool. All right, yeah. Well, you got to tell me more, Mr. Cruz. That is neat. I don't know. He scares me a little bit, but I still would go.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I would go to the concert 100%.
It's a Taylor Swift show.
But I draw the line, Mike. If he started talking about free jumping off of something or bungee cording off, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm out, Tom. We're not doing this, man. No way.
Well, not during the concert. Yeah, I'll meet up with you.
I'm not meeting up with him afterwards. No way.
I wouldn't. I would ghost. I would ghost the ghost.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, here's my number. Give Tom Cruise a fake number.
So true.
Mike, a little story from the New York Times. New research from the Buck Institute. Buck Institute has found that eating less increases lifespan and slows brain aging. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have any other things that are beneficial for Americans, but also absolutely impossible for Americans to do. Scientists also found that breathing out of your really decreases body fat and makes you live till 1,000. All right. Well, get on that. Yeah, come on. No. Americans aren't eating less. It's ridiculous.
No way.
I think you can eat less, though, Mike. We
Yeah, I
talked
can.
about it. You forget. You have a tendency to forget what you were eating. So,
Yeah.
you get too busy, you're a busy man. All
I
of a sudden,
can go a while without eating. Yeah.
I cannot. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, right now, I'm like, what am I going to have for dinner? And I'm thinking ribeye, Mike. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's nice.
Oh, it's going to be nice. It's going to
Now
be
I'm
nice.
hungry.
Boneless ribeye, too.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, bone-in's just as good. It's just you got to
Yeah.
do more work,
A little bit more work. Yeah. And you got to eat the end like a savage, like you got the bone in your mouth.
Just get in there and start gnawing on bones.
I don't care. I'll do it in the middle of a restaurant. I really do not care.
You got to get your money's worth. You're not going to.
Yeah.
Come on. And people understand. Well, they should. Mike, this headline is from Taste of Home. Taste of Home. This one got me a little bit. Quote, the best fast food salads to order when you're eating healthy.
Word.
I got to say, Mike, who's ordering fast food salads when you're not trying to eat healthy? What kind of life is that person living?
Yeah.
Hey, Bill,
Weird.
couldn't notice you passed up the triple cheeseburger with bacon. Yeah, I just love spinach salads. just the taste of spinach, right? You just wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, leaves, right? No, get out of here.
I don't know, Doc G. I used to go for those McSalad shakers, but I think that was more of just because
Dressing.
I loved shaking up the.
Yeah, you get the dressing all in there. And you get the, like a maraca. That's good times right there. Come
Good
on
times.
now. Mr. Justin Timberlake, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's been all over the news.
Yep.
Almost 2 weeks now. They have been talking about him being arrested for a DWI in Sag Harbor, Long Island.
Say what?
I got some new news on this, Mike. A couple of media outlets have recently stated that an anonymous person told the cops to watch if Justin Timberlake would drive himself.
Wow.
A local businessman told the New York Post, they said Justin was having a lot of drinks, and they told the cops to watch him if he's going to drive, end quote. And the interesting thing, Mike, the Post posed this as like some kind of problem. Like this person was a narc. And I got to say, good. Somebody should have called the cops. He was drinking and driving. If I'm walking on the sidewalk and he runs me over, I'm not going to go, well, I was mad until I found out he was bringing sexy back. Now I'm excited. Thank God it was Justin Timberlake that ran me over. No, he deserves to be in jail, man, till he learns to take an Uber like a real man.
Yeah, take an Uber.
Jesus. And I've also got to ask, Mike, I don't know if you were like me, but I immediately thought, I was like, where was Britney Spears on this? If I was her, I would have been on social media right away, and I would have been like, Justin needs to get his act together. He should be getting drunk and playing swords at his own house like a responsible adult. Okay?
God.
Jeez. I mean, really, though. Come on now, you know?
So true.
Mike, there's a new book out. I'm pretty excited about this book. The book is titled The House of Beckham. Written by Tim Bauer. It just came out. It's obviously all about David and Victoria Beckham. There's not too much new in this book, Mike, but it sort of puts all these little tidbits we've heard over the years together. And when you hear some of these things, it's pretty amazing. Like apparently, back in 2004, David Beckham was having an affair with his assistant, and that assistant caught him having sex with a Spanish model. That is amazing, Mike.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Back in 2004, David Beckham was out here scoring a hat trick on and off the pitch. Three scores. Come on, man. That is good Lord. And I feel like that's a little mandatory if you're David Beckham, right? Yeah. I mean, look at that dude. Look at that
Good-looking guy.
And sometimes you forget a little bit, Mike. You might have forgot how attractive he was back then.
Oh, no, I didn't forget. I just recently watched the David Beckham documentary.
Yeah, on Netflix. Oh my gosh,
stud muffin.
I went back. I looked at. I was when I was reading the story, Mike. I went back and I looked at him at Prince William's wedding. Oh, good Lord, that is like the epitome of dressed up sexiness right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were Prince William, I'd be like, I'm going to need you to stand at least 100 yards away from me at all times. We cannot have people comparing our looks. That will not end well for me at all.
I would not invite him to my wedding.
No, yeah, that's true. Was that why you didn't, is that why I didn't come to your wedding, Mike? 'Cause I was just too
sorry, Dr.
I was too sexy. No, it's weddings, Mike. I don't want to go to weddings, you know
Yeah.
that. Come on. That was which by the way, Mike, I'm going to have to be a best man in a wedding coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Not happy.
Not
happy. I mean, I'm happy for my friend, but God, the pressure, Mike.
That's right.
Mike, we got to take a break, but we are going to be right back, right here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show, Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do the listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like the show is a positive way to waste their time, they should please subscribe on wherever. They should subscribe wherever they get their podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We are on YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever they get their stuff. It is a cost-effective way to support the show. And if the listeners are feeling extra generous, they should leave us a 5-star review.
Yes. Amen.
And they should tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend about the show.
Tell a friend. Yes.
Tell a friend.
Mike,
Call them.
a couple of things on that. Yeah, it's a dying art, calling a person. Try it out. Couple of things on that, Mike. One, we have the highest numbers of any year since we've been doing the show on Apple, on SoundCloud, and on YouTube. Highest numbers.
That's amazing.
Highest numbers.
That's amazing.
Spotify, we're lagging. So
Whatever.
if you have listeners, every option to you as far as listening to the show and you want to spread the love, go on Spotify. Listen to it.
Yeah,
there,
go on Spotify.
You know? Or if you haven't started listening to the show or followed us on Spotify, do that, right? Just saying.
Yeah, definitely. Follow us on all that.
Yeah, just throwing out some options for you to do, you know? Just throwing some options out. Mike, I was thinking about this. Do you think I should start giving a shout out to the individual subscribers on the on YouTube? When somebody not everybody knew, because that's a waterfall of people. But I'm saying, just choose a person every week to just give a quick shout out and say, "Hey, thanks for subscribing." Should I do that?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Next week we're going to have a new subscriber that we're going to give a shout out to. Mike, we got to thank the regular listeners via city right now.
Shout out.
Shout out to Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Pircai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Richards, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Columbus, Ohio.
Nice.
Shout out.
I think that's my best ever, Mike. I'm going to say that.
I think so too.
I was I felt like a used car commercial right there, you know.
Like an auctioneer.
just letting them know all the things that were going to explode on their car in the subtext, you know? And that's what I felt like. Mike, 4-star listens.
Shout out.
The Bronx, New York. Shout out to you guys.
Hey.
Do you know that the Bronx is part of the official title, Mike? It's not Bronx, it's the Bronx.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
The is actually in there. The Bronx. Because it was named after the river, which they called the Bronx, sort of like the Mississippi River. And then when they named it, they just put the in there. The article went with it. The Bronx. There you go.
The Bronx.
Little fact. Shout out to you guys. Boogie Down Bronx. Thanks for listening. London, United Kingdom. Shout out to you guys. Got a couple of locals here, Mike. Shout out to Middleburg, Florida. Shout out to Fernandina Beach, Florida. Home of Flip Turn, our faves.
Say what?
Mike, I got sad news. I wanted them to come on the show before their Jacksonville show. They were too busy.
Ah.
They were too busy. They sent their love. They could have been lying to me, but they said they love my interviews.
Cool.
Yeah, I think they were lying.
That's nice.
But it was still really nice. You know, if they were lying about it, that was nice of them to do. I appreciate the lie, you know? Shout out to St. Mary's, Georgia. Shout out to Waycross, Georgia. Shout out to Miami, Florida, 305. Shout out to Hackensack, New Jersey.
Hey.
Hackensack. It's a pretty cool town name.
Yeah,
I like
is.
that. Singapore. Shout out to Singapore. Shout out to Lisbon, Portugal. This one might be my favorite just because it's unique, Mike. Shout out to Lagos, Nigeria. Yeah. Shout out to Cairo, Egypt. Shout out to Milan, Italy. Shout out to Lima, Peru. And lastly, shout out to Warsaw, Poland. Lots of internationals there,
Cool.
Mike. We
Thank
always
you.
love the internationals.
Thank you.
Mike, real quick, last week, you may remember, I did a random shout out in the miscellaneous file.
Shout out.
You know? I don't know if you remember that. You remember that? Did a random shout out of Princess Kate there because she was looking good. You know,
Okay.
She's looking strong after the cancer treatment. You know, and you know, I was like, that's not really a miscellaneous. You know, that's a random shout out. So I thought I'd do another random shout out, Mike.
All right.
You know who my random shout out is this week? Monty Williams.
Monty Williams.
You know Monty?
Is he a basketball guy?
He's a basketball coach.
He's a basketball coach.
Basketball coach. He was coaching the Phoenix Suns, and then he got hired by the Pistons. Well, he just got fired by the Pistons. But I'm giving him a shout out because he had a 6-year deal with the Pistons worth $78.5 million. They fired him after 1 year. So he's got $65 million coming his way over the next 5 years for doing absolutely nothing.
Ah, that's so beautiful.
That is amazing. Now, you know a go-getter like that, he's going to go do things.
Oh yeah.
He's going to try to get another job. He's going to be doing
Can he? You think
yeah.
so?
Oh, yeah. I'd say that's probably in his, in the contract. If they fire him, he could still get another job. I mean, now, I don't know about you, Mike, but I would definitely enjoy doing nothing for a couple of years, just being insanely rich.
Oh, for sure.
That would be pretty fun. You
Yeah.
know what? And he can do it. He's getting $13.5 million a year to do nothing. Shout out to you, Monty Williams. Fantastic.
Yeah, shout out.
Fantastic.
Shout out.
Mike, I got one other thing here. I had to look this up. I was going along on my friend's social media, and my friend, one of my friends was in Hollywood, and they went to Hollywood, and they were at the old Hollywood Stars. They were going down. Who do you think they posted pictures of? What stars?
Controversial ones?
No, not really controversial. It just wouldn't be my choices.
Okay.
They posted The Rock. All right, I guess. And then Jackie Chan. Those were the only two that they posted, Mike. Out of everybody that has a star, those two.
I don't know. Fans of...
I get fans
fighting.
of whatever those two. Like, I mean, Rock didn't he have like a one where he was like a dad or something in a movie? It's like, maybe just big fans of Rush Hour. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know? But I was just like, all the people, those were the two that you went with.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was weird. I just, I couldn't help it. I wrote it down to remind myself how weird that was. It was just, damn. Anyways.
I wouldn't have posted any, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
I just walked all over them and not even paid attention to anybody.
Let's be honest. It's a sidewalk tile. Who cares?
Yeah, it's a sidewalk tile.
That says somebody's name.
Now that we're talking about it, it's kind of cool. They got their handprints.
It is.
So you can put your hands on the ground.
Although then you got to decontaminate after you do that.
Yeah,
definitely going to have Ebola after that.
Blood on your hands. Yeah, something. Probably. Gross.
Oh, I picked up a syringe. Oh.
But at least my hand fits in the Rock's handprint. That's cool.
Or his palm, one of the two.
Yeah.
Okay, the Rock's not that huge. He's sizable.
He's probably got small hands.
Teeny raccoon hands. That's what I hear. Anyways, Mike, we're going to take a break. We are going to be right back with none other than Annie Lederman right here on the show.
What's up? This Rock Montana. This Mucho Yellow. And it's Rockin' Yellow. And you're listening to Doc G Show from 803 to 904. The best show on the radio. You dig?
This is 95.5 Spinnaker Radio. WSKR-LP-FM, UNF Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are very excited to be welcoming a fantastic comedian who will be right down the road at Comedy Zone this weekend, the Friday, the 28th, Saturday, the 29th, here in Jacksonville. Miss Annie Lederman. Annie, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm proud of myself. I thought I looked at my phone. I thought it was going to be at 11:30 and it was at 10:30 my time, so...
The time zone changes, man. It's tough.
The time zone, the comedy zone, there's a connection.
Well, how should we feel special since you're coming all the way across the country just for us here in Jacksonville?
I think you should feel very special. No, I'm excited. I love Florida. I can't wait. I already have my spray tan. I'll probably get another one. I'll darken it up. I have my spray tan. I have reptiles. I'm always ready for Florida. I can't wait. And it's starting to get hot as here, so
it's here. It is hot here. It is a real field temp of 103 right now outside.
Oh, I can't wait. But see, here's the thing. You're not going to really want to go out and do anything except come to the comedy
show.
So.
Go to the show. Exactly.
Come to the show, baby. We'll keep it nice and icy in there.
Now, on the range of like annoying things in life, where is flying? Obviously, it's a big part of your job. Like, how annoying is that for you?
It depends on if there's an upgrade. It depends if it's it depends on the class. And let me tell you, there was no upgrades available. So we'll see. There's also a layover. But usually, I get pretty zen about flying. I like flying.
Okay. All right,
Dallas. But this one's gonna be. I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist. That I'm not flying at all. But I do it all the time. I do enjoy it. This one is gonna be annoying. I don't like layovers.
Is it Dallas? Is the layover?
One's Dallas and one's another one. I don't know. I honestly, I get the flights. I don't look at them until I'm. running to the gate.
You like it to be a mystery.
I like a little anxiety to wake me up. I like to get to the airport at the time where I'm running through all of the gate. Like, you know, when you were allowed to go in when you didn't have a gate, you know, like you're running to like catch a lover that's going to marry someone else. Just like, don't marry her. She has cankles.
Are you the person that sort of I'm the person that like thinks I'm going to get up early when I get a flight. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I'm going to be productive. And then I vastly overestimate how prepared I am. And that's why I'm always late.
I think I have so much time. And then I'm treating myself like I'm a 5-year-old. My friends with kids, I told them I was doing this thing and they're like, that's what I do with my children. But I give myself like a gold star system now. So it's like if I do something good, I get a gold star. So one of the things on my gold star list is getting ready early. Because I'll have 4 hours and then it'll just be gone. We do live by the airport though. We live in Venice. So that is good. So you have a lot more leeway with that. But I have the TSA pre-check because I travel all the time. So I can get in pretty fast.
How long have you been in Venice?
We've been here since like probably a year into the pandemic.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like Venice, and I mean your videos on social media definitely show this, but I feel like Venice is one of the few places that can beat out Miami for weirdness.
Yeah, there's pockets. It's pretty chill in other areas too, but no, there's definitely pockets. Miami, but it's like you guys are humid. We're having more of a dry weirdness. Yeah, no, there's definitely some odd people. I try to find that clown all the time. I think you're talking about my clown interview.
That clown. He's is bizarre.
Yeah, he's anti-autism, which is pretty funny because he's obviously the most autistic person I've ever met in my life.
Extremely. This is a true story about Venice. I went there several years ago. And I saw Gary Busey there cruising the boardwalk, just being insane Gary Busey. He was talking to himself. He was doing, and because of all the crazy stuff we had seen before, me and my friend were like, it seems pretty normal. He seems
nobody noticed him.
No, like everybody was just gawking at all the other weird things going on. And he just sort of cruised right through the crowd.
He seems very Venice. But I love boardwalks. I love, mannequins with booty shorts that say like Stevens or whatever. I love it.
Have you ever got on the Venice the gym? Muscle Beach.
I want to go over there. They were closed. I want to do Man on the Street over there with them.
Yeah, you got to get some of those guys on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think they will because they're all such hams. They'll do anything.
Oh, 100%. That's why they're there. Well, you've got a lot of reptiles in your place there. You are in the reptile room. I honestly don't even know
the amount. We have, so there's 2 frogs in here.
Now, dumpy frogs.
2 dumpy frogs there. My fiance just gets them. He knows how to manipulate me. He puts on like a video of whatever reptile he wants. So he'll just start playing reptile videos about a specific reptile. It'll be in the background. I won't really be paying attention to it. And then he'll just
sort of an osmosis of reptiles just slowly seeping into you.
Hi, bud. You want to come out? This is Arnold, our blue tongue skink. You want to come play?
I don't know. Arnold doesn't seem too interested.
He's so cute. He just might be hard with one hand. Come on, big boy. Oh, what a big guy.
There we go. Man.
Flipped. I don't know. There we go.
He's about what? About a foot long? Arnold's about somewhere around there?
Maybe about a foot. Hi, cute boy. He's a blue tongue skink.
Now, is he going to get any bigger than that?
No.
No, that's
big. And he was pretty fat when we first got him too.
What does Arnold eat? What do you give Arnold?
He eats mice.
Okay, wow. All right.
I think. No, wait, or does he have smoothies? I don't know. Todd does the feeding. I sometimes feed them, but it's kind of not my thing.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I can see.
So he'll do that, and then he'll bring me. He'll be like, "Go to the reptile store with me." So I'll go, and then there'll be like tiny baby turtles of the turtles that he's been showing me. And I'm like, all right, well, we have to get a baby turtle. We have one here. We named after Tim Dillon. Here's Turtle Tim Dillon.
Oh man, Turtle Tim Dillon.
He's so cute. He's our newest. Come here, bud. He's up. Oh, don't put your head away. Don't be shy. Look how cute he is. You take him into the light.
Now, is he getting any bigger?
Yeah, he's gonna get bigger, but he's not gonna be a huge tortoise.
Okay.
But he'll be like this big.
Now, how active is Tim during the day?
He's about as active as Tim Dillon, you know. He kind of hangs out.
I like it. Oh, look at him. A
He's
head
so
on there.
cute. Isn't he so little? He looks like my dad. All old men just look like turtles.
They do. It's 100% true. Now, you've also got Walter. Walter is one of the snakes.
Walter's in the bedroom. See, I like your trivia is good. Walter's in the bedroom. Walter rules. Walter's very good, but Walter hasn't eaten since we got him. He's on like a hunger strike. So people said a lot of their snakes that haven't been eating are starting to eat again. It's like the season.
Okay.
So hopefully he'll eat soon, but we haven't taken him out in a while because he hasn't eaten. But he's the best one to hold.
Well, now I don't want to play favorites, but do you have a favorite reptile? Like you don't have the specific animal, but just like
I love Walter. We have our turtle Tom, our other snake. I have a pine snake that's named Tom. That's pretty fun. Now when we first got him, he would burrow and we would never see him, and now he's always like darting around. He's pretty cute. But our first one, this gecko. Oh, he shit on the thing. He's pretty funny. He's always funny. This is Tanner's, one of my faves, and then our leopard geckos. She's really pretty.
I saw you. You had Jim Norton on your show.
Oh yeah.
And you were showing him the reptiles there. He seemed pretty freaked out, but trying to act like he was not freaked out.
He was being very good. We know he's good at handling snakes. He's been doing it since he was so young. Usually in the woods by his school. But he was really good. When we had Burr on, it was pretty funny. Because I was like, do you want to hold a snake? He's like, that's not what I'm here for. But now he always asks about the reptiles. He's opening up. He's opening up.
Did you put any video of that one out on social media of him?
No, he said no. We just asked, and it was in the podcast, but it was really funny. He's so funny.
I do not see him being a reptile holder. That does not.
No. He was.
Seems very anti-Bill.
Not interested.
So you've been in LA, like you said. You've been in now, so like about 4 years.
In Venice, I've been in LA since like 2012.
Okay, so you were only in New York for like 3 years doing stand-up.
3 or 4, yeah.
Nice.
I guess I came in 2013, yeah. 4 years.
Nice. And like I heard one of the big catalysts there right at the start, we have to thank partly for your career was Donnell Rollins. He was
Donnell was my first comedy papa.
Wow. And he basically just like gave you time with no experience. Like you'd done like one open mic.
Well, he humiliated me. So I went to I was staying at my friend Paul Shin's house, and he was friends with Esther Koo. I mean, I have learned throughout my career that Asians really do stick together. They all know each other. So that was the New York Asians. But so he knew I wanted to be a comedian, and he was already friends with Esther Koo that was doing it. So then they invited me to go to Donnell's house for a Super Bowl party. And so we went to his place in Brooklyn, and I was talking to one of his friends. One of his friends was like, "Oh, are you a comedian?" And I said, "No, I moved out here because I want to do it, but I've only done like one open mic." And then he was like, "Donnell, put her on your show on Monday." And it was Super Bowl Sunday, so it would have been the next day. And Donnell was like, "Okay." And then I told him, I was like, "Oh, I'm not really ready. I don't want to go up tomorrow." And he just started like, he was like, "Go hard or go home. Don't come here telling people you want to do something and say no." And which was really good because I wasn't going to do it. And then I came on Monday, and I don't know if I did a spot that Monday or I think he had me come back the next Monday. And then he just started giving me 5-minute spots. It was really fun.
Nice.
It was really cool.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about like the way you went to New York to do comedy. I mean, it's one of the biggest, hardest comedies zones to do,
Oh, no pun intended.
Exactly.
Did you feel weird when you said it?
It was just, honestly, most of my puns are usually I'm too dumb to think of another word because it was already in my head from before, and I'm just like, that works. And I'm like, I said that earlier. But was it confidence? Was it arrogance? Was it ignorance? Why did you say I'm just going to go to New York?
It was alcoholism. So I wanted to move to LA because I had friends that lived in LA and worked in reality TV, and I was like, oh, that'll be fun to go there. I could work as a PA or something and do open mics and stuff. But I was drinking so much that I was like, if I have to drive, I'll end up. I thought I had a drinking and driving problem. And then when I moved to New York, I quit drinking after my first open mic because it was just like, I just went home with the least funny guy in the world, and I didn't want to like hook up with comics or anything. And I just really wanted to focus. I just really wanted comedy to be my job.
Yeah.
Since I started it, so.
Well, like I mean, when you went, you stopped drinking, I'm guessing you didn't have enough time to really know the difference between performing with and without alcohol.
I just did it once, and I was like, I don't like this. It's not going to work out. I'm not going to get good.
Yeah, and so then you had to drop it.
Yep, and then. So then I did that. And then I just went to mics every night. I did like 4 or 5 mics a night, whatever I could do. I worked as a waitress at this place called Life Cafe on Tompkins Square Park. And I would have like certain comics would come by, and I would like hook them up with like free breakfast or give them discounted stuff. Then they would sign me up for the open mics. And then I was able to really get a lot in. We would sign each other up. I would go to one, they would go to the other and sign each other up. And then that restaurant went out of business right when I got my first comedy job, which I was actually talking about on the Anniewood that's coming out. But I did Bachelor recap videos for this iPad app called The Daily that was Fox News, just had this news app that went on all of the original iPads. So I just did this short, 5-minute thing for them where I would go in on Monday nights, watch The Bachelor, write jokes on the commercial breaks, go do my hair and makeup. They'd put my jokes into the prompter, and then I would go shoot them in the studio. And it was really cool. It was really fun. And so that happened right as that restaurant was going out of business. So then I never had a job that wasn't a comedy job after that. That was like 2011. Yeah.
Well, now before that, I mean, for listeners that don't know, I mean, you sort of switched into comedy around 25. You just, you had all these other things going on before that. But did you follow a lot of comics? Did you watch a lot of stand-up before actually trying it? Or were you just one of those people that were like, I'm jumping in, let's give this a shot? People say I'm funny.
I didn't really watch comedy. So here's what, my dad's just really funny, and I always liked making him laugh. But it wasn't, he didn't show me comedy. Stand-up wasn't, we weren't listening to albums or anything. Like I watched The Cosby Show, but I wasn't like that brokenhearted when all that happened because he wasn't a stand-up idol of mine. Because I just didn't, I mean, I liked the show, but anyway, so I hadn't really, I knew I liked making people laugh. I knew I liked that connection with my dad, and I knew he had given me kind of like a quick mind that could remember things and call things back. And I was raised with no rules, so I'm like rude and will just say things to people. So that always got laughs. It's a thing. And so I didn't know really what I wanted to do. So I moved back to New York. I broke my foot. I was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I was going to college, suffering through college for years and years and years. And I ended up breaking my foot, and I didn't want to. I lived on the second floor. It was just too hard to take care of my dog and stuff. So I moved back in with my parents. And then I was there, and I was like, I really kind of want to do comedy. I want to do something in that space. So I looked up comedy classes, and all they had was improv classes. So I took an improv class at the Philadelphia Improv Theater. I don't even know if that still exists. And I realized that I didn't really want to do improv. I wanted to do stand-up, but I'm glad I never took a stand-up class because I think it might have. Not that I think a lot of, like, Jim Gaffigan's an example of someone who took a stand-up class and kind of learned how to do stand-up through that. I think it would have been someone else's voice in my head, and it would have been kind of, I don't think it would have worked for me.
It would have put you in a box. Yeah.
I would have had rules. Yeah. And, but so I did that, the improv thing, and then I realized I wanted to do stand-up. And right when I was doing the improv class, I started watching a lot of Comedy Central, and John Mulaney had a hilarious set on. He had a premium blend that was really good.
Nice.
And now he's a baby with my girl Olivia. What's up? But but so I saw that, and I remember just thinking like, wow, I really want to do that. And it was maybe even just 5 minutes, but I remember he was talking about, it was a joke about Law and Order that he had, and then there was a joke about when you quit drinking and you wake up in the morning with more money. It's like, it's worse when you wake up with more money, because that means you exchanged goods and or services for it. But it was just these things where I was like, that's so funny, that's so relatable to me, who was like a raging alcoholic at the time. And then so I just kind of got into that, where I was like, oh, it's so fun that you could make people feel the way I feel when I'm watching that. And then I saw I was watching Jimmy Kimmel, and Howard Kramer came on. I always tell him when I see him see him, which I don't see him too often because he's more on the east side in LA. He does more of the alt scene. But whenever I see Howard Kramer, I'm always like, you had my favorite jokes. You made me want to do it. So he had this joke. He just did, I think he was a writer on Kimmel. So he just did, a small set on Kimmel, and it was going to Starbucks and them overfilling your hot coffee. He's like, so they overfilled my hot coffee. I wanted room for milk. And as they always do, they overfilled it. So I went over to the trash can and I poured it out like everyone else does. But because that happened to be the day where a girl threw her baby out or something. It was something about burning a baby and it was so dumb and so funny. And I just remember like there were just these specific jokes. Like I just always really loved jokes, jokes that took me to a place I didn't expect. And yeah, it's really fun because I have my managers going through all my jokes I ever filmed, and he's posting them, and I don't even know what he just posts them, and I'm like, I just hope it's not cringe. But it's really cute. He posted a lot of stuff I did back when I was living in New York, and I'm like, oh, I love these jokes. These were good jokes.
Oh,
really
what?
Cute. They were very,
I said that?
True.
Yes.
They were like true to where I was at. I was really like taking from my own life and making creative things that were relatable and stuff. So I was excited. It's cute to see like old me. I don't know. The way I dressed was a nightmare. Just muffin top for no reason. It's like taller jeans.
It's part of the style. You got to let it out.
God.
Well, I mean, in those first years that you had doing stand-up, I've talked to a couple of stand-ups about this. I've talked to musicians about this. You get advice from other comedians. You get advice from other musicians. What was your belief on that advice? Did you take the advice, or were you like, off, who cares?
Well, Donnell took my notes. I had a set list, and he took my set list, and he said, and I go, but I'm going to forget my jokes. He goes, that's where the real comedy comes, when you forget your jokes, which I was not skilled enough yet for that to be the truth. But it's true. I think I used to write. I'm working on a special. So now I have to go back to a list and, putting things in an order, which is not something that I love. I mean, I'm like interviewing life coaches to get through this. I mean, it's like really not, I'm so used to kind of going up there and just being in the moment and having all these jokes. I have like 2 to 3 hours of jokes over my career. I've been doing it for 15 years. And it's just like, I go up and I kind of just, where do they take me and stuff? But with a special, I really do want to have, and not that I have to, I can still deviate from the set, but I do want to have something down concrete. So it's just like trying to put my brain back into that. Because I think when I used to do open mics, the goals that you had were they felt so big, but they were a small beginning part of your career. So it was like, to get Montreal, RIP, that doesn't exist anymore. You want to get Montreal. You want to just even get on bar shows, to get on shows, to have people start booking you. And it was just about like learning how to make an audience laugh that wasn't other open micers, and just making real people laugh, and your cadence, and not sounding like you're reading, making it sound like it's coming from yourself. So I would be very tight with my jokes, never do any sort of improvising or anything. And then I would go through phases where I kind of, broaden the jokes, and then I would go back. But I've been pretty like loose for a long time, because it's, that's where I have the most fun. But Donnell said that to me, and I really like that. And I'm trying to think of like other just straight advice I got from people, because I loved it. Rob Schneider. I used to open for Rob, and it was so cute. Rob is so sweet. And I agree with all of his political stuff. But just kidding. But Florida probably does. But I just love Rob. Rob, one of my friends, he didn't like one of my friends, which is so funny. She's like, yeah, I got like a vibe. He didn't like me. I'm like, oh, that's sad. He always loved me and used to write me notes. I would go on stage and I would come back and I'd have my set list there and he would have like written me like, you're a star, step into it. Like, take your moment, which was so cute. But basically what he told me that I really liked is he said that what I was doing was I would do a joke and I would like come forward and then I would go back. I was like resetting between each joke. So that was something I was like, just stay like at them. So that was really helpful. Some of the guys would give me advice. The only advice I didn't take was from people who I admired so much that when they saw my set, they'd never seen me perform not in front of them. So the notes they would be giving me would be like on things that it was just because I was nervous.
That's specific, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then my friend Brian Baldinger, who works at the Comedy Store now, and he used to be one of the scouts for Montreal. He's always got some weird comedy peripheral thing. He's not a comedian, but he told me once in the beginning that actually really helped me. He said the funniest word should be at the end. So you're not stepping on the laughs. And so it's like the punch at the end. So I had a joke that was about looking like Scarlett Johansson if she was in a fire that only burned off her tits. But I used to do if her tits were burned off in a house fire. And it's like, so tits is funnier than house fires. And then I flipped it and I was getting a bigger laugh. It was just like stuff like little things like that.
It's so weird. I mean, like talking about like how you can change that one dynamic. Just change the phrasing and it completely changes how people laugh at it. I mean, is that one of like the addictive parts for you?
I mean, it's really fun to just figure it out. It's just fun to, and I'm confident now, and so I don't have the same, like I can write on stage now. I wasn't really able to write on stage before. I was always trying to have it kind of like completely pieced out before I went on, but now I can write on stage. But it's really fun to to around with it. And so that's like before, when I do my special, I want to go through and I want to make sure I'm not missing a new angle, like, or if I could come into a joke a different way. And the thing that I used to always hear when I first started was the economy of words, about just having just the least amount of filler words and stuff, which is true, but also because I tour, once I started doing hours, it's not that you want to be rambling or anything, but you do want to be conversational with people. You don't want to bore people. You don't want people to be up there going like, even though they know it's pre-written, there's a little bit of hypnosis. You want them to think it's, and I do a lot of crowd work too. And so it's not pre-written and I never know what order it's going to be in. So it, it's like a little bit of a trick like that, but it's so fun to talk about comedy. I feel like I've held myself back from talking about comedy because it's like, you know, talking about comedy, like it's your art form and stuff is like, I've always been like,
you don't want to give the secrets.
People doing it. But the truth is I really do love jokes. I love jokes and I love getting a room full of people to laugh. And I love when something happens, something's off and you can fix it and bring it together. And I love a mixed audience. I love Florida because I love that you're getting both, you're getting a red audience and a blue audience. I love that.
You get a wacky audience here. That's for sure.
It's so fun. I've had a lot of fun at comedy zones throughout the United States.
Well, I mean, speaking of like, you know, you're talking about workshopping the jokes, going back and looking at them. I've talked to a bunch of comics about like, and it's the same thing again in musicians, like both of them with your art. There's a joke that you've written that you're so jazzed about and you think it's like, it's gold. And you just get crickets every time you tell it. No matter how you workshop it, it just comes back and you're like, I know this is good.
Oh,
why isn't this working?
That's sad. That's never happened to me. No, but okay. So there's jokes that will come to me. What I'm trying to work on right now is I feel like I'm a prolific writer. Okay. I feel in my heart like I have 100 jokes a day flowing through me, but I get caught up on things and I miss them. There's this book called Big Magic, I think it's called. And it's a woman talking about her writing and creative process. And she said that there was a poet that used to work in the fields. And she'd be, you know, picking, I don't know what they were doing, what fruit
something
or whatever.
in the fields.
Yeah, let's just say fruit. And she would be doing something in the field. She'd be farming. and an idea would come to her, a poem would come to her, and she
Mhm.
would have to run back to her house
Mhm.
as fast as she possibly could to get it on paper before it was gone. And she said sometimes it was so on the edge of losing it that she would write it backwards because it had already gone through her and she was pulling it back. And I get struck by lightning with comedy, with joke ideas. I'll just be like sitting in the car, bing, and then I'm like, fuck, or like in yoga or something. And I have to write it down as soon as possible. And it'll just be a bullet point. And sometimes it's years later that I figure out what the joke is. But it's like, there was something I was like, oh, and not that this is my greatest joke or anything, but about 3 years ago, I started thinking like mimosa. I was like doing my quitting drinking stuff, like mimosa, or something with mimosa. And then, and now I do a joke about being called a mimosa because I was bottomless at brunch. But it's like, so I knew, like, I was like, but it took so long. And it's not that I was thinking about it every day. It was like, I put it there, I forgot about it. And then it came back to me and I was like, oh, that's what it was. And it just fits into another part. And then there's little things like little tags come to me and stuff. So it's kind of about not being psychotic, not having anxiety, not filling my brain with like weird worries, and just being relaxed, and then the things will come to me. But I'm trying to work on having a practice of actually sitting down and just showing up to write.
I mean, it's again, not to go back to musicians, but it's the same thing I hear from a lot of musicians as far as when they're writing songs. They'll come up with a melody, or they'll come up with a riff, or they'll hear this little phrase for a chorus that they're like, I got to use that, but they don't have any of it finished. So it's just this giant room of like, and then eventually they're like, wait a second, this will go with this. I can use this.
I really admire musicians because I think musicians can do a lot more collaborating than comedians can. I know a lot of comics and bigger comics get busy. They have writers and stuff, but I have never been able to deliver a joke that was written for me. I just can't. My point of view, I have to be able to trace the joke back to the moment I thought of it.
Yeah.
I have to like remember, how did I feel when it struck me and stuff. It just doesn't. There was this guy, Tom McCaffrey. I don't know if he's still doing comedy, but he was really a great comic. I don't know what he's up to. I haven't seen him in years. And forgive me if he's like out doing it and I just haven't paid attention to him. But I had stopped hanging out with him because I would tell him something about my life and he would just give me a joke real quick, and it would like fuck with my ability to get to the joke, because then his joke would be in my head.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't organic to me. So, but I saw this Ed Sheeran documentary. And I think it was on Apple Plus, but he was, it was funny. I met the guy who made the documentary is his cousin. And his cousin was doing a documentary that will never be, I cannot even believe that they had a camera there, but I used to write with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
And maybe I still will. I just haven't done a project in a while, but I worked on Who is America, and I worked on Borat. And there was a guy filming in the background, and Sasha's like, writing process and all that stuff is so top secret. I'm like, why are you filming this? What are you gonna do? But I was talking to that guy, and he went to school with Adele, and he was cousins with Ed Sheeran. He was like, you have to watch this documentary. And he was saying that the amount of, he's like, you can tell who's gonna make it big by the amount of just work and how much they focus on everything. He's like, there was just no way Adele or Ed Sheeran weren't gonna be massive stars with just the focus that they had and stuff, which I thought was really cool as a creative. So then I went and I watched that documentary, and it was really cool. He had all these great minds coming together into this house, and they were all focusing on writing these songs with him. And he just got the best people alive, and they all just got together. And I'm like, I wish I could do that for comedy, but I can't. I'm always like, every time I do ayahuasca like once a year, and every time I do it, I'm always like, I'm like looking over a bucket, into my own vomit that's shaped like my grandmother or my ancestors or something. I'm like looking at it and I'm like, I have to do everything on my own. That's so annoying. And that's always like the epiphany I got, like, you have to get to it yourself. But I would love, like, if a Rick Rubin could come in, you have all these parts, and then you have like a Rick Rubin come in and be like, but you want to know why I don't think Rick Rubin could help me with jokes, because I heard him talking about comedy once, and he said that comedians starting out should have day jobs so that they're not worried about money. And I don't think that. I feel the exact opposite.
Gotta have
I
no
think
option.
living in your car, I think being starved.
Yeah.
And having to eat at the comedy club and just
I will say, I never really thought about it like you were just saying, but like there is so few comedians that collaborate. I mean, you obviously have.
It's a solo man's game though. Why would and not that we're not generous with each other and stuff, but why would I bring my point of view to your point of view? Yeah. I can help people. I've written for people, writing for roasts. Like it's something that I can do, but I think sometimes when you see someone come out with a special that's like gotten very successful and you go, oh, that's not what they like. It doesn't normally have the same thing it had before. Yeah. I think there's too many things coming in. There's too many voices coming in. And then you don't know if it's like, if someone picked it up at an open mic from someone out, like you don't know if it's someone else's joke and whether they mean to or not, like maybe they're just pitching a joke that they thought they came up with. I think there's more like margin for error there.
Yeah.
But I also don't, if you can make it work, do it. But just for me, like if I could rent a house in Topanga Canyon and get all of the most brilliant people, I like when people see my set. The nerves I used to get in front of the greats and my heroes, I don't get that anymore. Now I'm just like, ooh, do you have any notes? Like I would love like if you think I should be saying this differently. But Doug Stanhope came, we were hanging out. He was in LA for, I think it was this thing we were shooting with Paul Provenza. We were doing like remember he used to do the green room? Yeah. Where it was like all the comics. And he did a little bit of that because our friend Andy Andrus, who's so funny, he's such a crazy traumatized comedian, but they did this whole documentary basically where they caught his childhood predator on camera admitting that he did something to him. So they did this hidden camera kind of funny sting thing years ago. That's like, and that's my favorite, like bringing like your childhood trauma and making it funny and interesting and crazy is like my favorite thing. But so then they didn't know how to end the thing. So then they did like a green room at the end at Paul's house. So stand-up was in town for that. I think they're still editing all of it, and him watching my set and then he's like, oh, I want to help you with your special. Like that's what I want. That's like my favorite thing, obviously. Yeah. Well, the people who I'm obsessed with.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it a little. I mean, you've mentioned it several times as far as your stand-up. You've done so many things outside of stand-up that are sort of like tangential. They're on the cusp. They are. I mean, you've got this big following on social media. Most of it's your own post of social media, and you've got your podcast. You've co-hosted other podcasts in the past. Like you were on video games, you were on TV. What would you say the biggest thing? What's the biggest thing that's helped your stand-up? Like as far as like promoting your stand-up, what's been the biggest one that has brought people to your stand-up?
Probably the podcasting. And when I got my first bump when I first did Rogan, and like the Grand Theft Auto thing, I think is my coolest credit, but not that many people know that that's me.
Yeah.
There wasn't like, it's a voice so they don't know. And the Comedy Store documentary, I think with stand-up, what I've seen with people when they really get to that level of like household name or close to around there, is they do 3 things at once. It's usually like you have a book, a show, or a special, like all these things come out. Like Nikki's having like such a big moment right now because she had the roast and her special come out days apart. It's like it's really cool to see, you see this. And I think it's like it's always like a multitude of things. And one of the reasons why I left Trash Tuesday, my other podcast, was because I was so spread thin that I could not get my jokes together. Like I wasn't writing them as fast as I usually was. Like it just was affecting my ability. It was just so spread thin. Yeah. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, if I'm showing up everywhere, just a tiny sliver of what I can do, then people aren't even getting the best version of me. And that's
that's the whole purpose. Right. Yeah.
Because I've done so many cool things, and I've met so many, like I'm friends with almost every comedian I ever looked up to, and that's so cool, and it's been so fun, and that's so awesome. But when I think back on like the times I felt the most alive and the most excited, it was when I started comedy and was doing like 5 mics a night. I just felt I was so happy and so it was like it was the process of getting there rather than getting the things was more, you know. So I'm
Always
always trying
comes
to
back to
instill that
stand up.
back. Exactly. I just love doing stand up.
When
So yeah.
I mean, talking about the stand up, and I saw this on your social media. I mean, and I've talked to a couple other comedians about this. It always seems like the crowd work, the shenanigans get the biggest response on social media. Like, you can have an amazing joke, put it on social media, and then you put crowd work on there of like a train wreck of you talking about, you know, sex, and there's 500,000, you know, views and likes and everything like that. Do you find that to be the case?
I don't know what I think what happened was everyone just started posting crowd work because we want to save our jokes for specials. So then everything became crowd work, and the internet audience just got kind of
trained
into that. And I hear a lot of comics that don't really like doing crowd work are about it because then people are yelling at it there. I like doing all stand up. I like being on stage. I really, one of my highest values is just true human connection. So I love being able to connect with an audience while doing crowd work and stuff like that. And I love like cracking myself up and being like, where did that come from out of my mouth, you know? and it's fun. So I don't really mind that. And I always I think I had, even though everyone thinks I'm a, but I think I'm a little bit of, maybe a little more approachable in some ways. So I always had people yelling out to me. And not that I want that or anything, but I learned how to handle that very early on in my career. I started opening for like Jim Norton and Jimmy's audience it was all Opie and Anthony back then. And they just were, I learned that they wanted to be fun. And I just went, well, I'm like, I can do that. I sure know how to yeah.
You got to have that quick response. You got to have that. You said you've always had that though, right? That growing up, the quick response.
Yeah, I kind of got that from my dad. One of my nieces has it too. It's cool to see.
I was actually just telling somebody this morning. I remember the first time it was in middle school. I had a friend, Corey Spradlin, and he was talking to this girl, Ashley, and Ashley said, "Kiss my ass." And Corey came right back, like perfectly timed, perfectly confident. You got to mow it first. That was his response. And like, I was in 7th grade, so I was like, oh my God, that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And it was just like, so like, after that, for like a month, I was just like, that was the coolest thing ever. Yeah. My God, how did he say? Because I'm the exact opposite. If I gotta get a quick response, it's gonna take me 5 weeks to come up. I am George in Seinfeld with his jerk store. It takes me a couple of days. I'm like, oh, that's what I should have said. I should have said that. I should have.
Well, you know what haunts me is not that, because I usually do come up with something quick. It's if I don't want to, if I go like, oh, I didn't want to be rude, so I don't say a joke or something. I will wake up in the middle of the night, like with flashbacks. Like it's my Vietnam. It's like, I should have just said the joke.
Yeah.
I should have just said. I'm like, oh, there's so many things. I'm like, so I try to just say everything, and I don't care. I never care if I say something that doesn't land. I don't.
Well, as many shows as you've done that, you've probably gotten over that, I would imagine. Of things not landing. Who cares, man? Who cares? Well,
I can fix everything.
So you started Anniewood and Friends, the shows at the Comedy Store. Yes. And if listeners haven't seen this, my Lord, the shows I mean, Ron Funches, Andrew Santino, Bert Kaiser, Bill Burr, Bobby Lee, Whitney Cummings, all of these awesome.
John Mulaney, Dimitri Martin. I got Dimitri Martin back at the Comedy Store. Dimitri Martin, Craig Robinson was the last one.
Tim Dillon.
Just,
I mean, how did you start doing this? What was the idea of the Anniewood and Friends? Like, I mean, it obviously went along with the podcast, the relaunching there.
Yeah. I started doing the podcast, and I was like, I want there to be a live comedy component to it, and and I, the Comedy Store is one of my main home clubs, and I've been there since I was passed in 2012. And I just hit them up, and they're like, yeah, come do a show here. And I always panic. is so useless. I always book like 2 or 3 comics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, I hope that's like a good enough lineup, you know? And then by the night of the show, I'm always like, how did I just get the most stacked? Every time it happens. It happens every time.
It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah, it's cool.
the list of those. I mean, it's like it's an all-star. It's like Netflix is a joke weekend when you have one of those or something.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I love that it keeps working out and they always sell out. And, you know, and I try to really think about, I want the green room to be a really fun hang. And I always try to make it a good crew. I've been getting more of the people that kind of don't hang out at the Comedy Store too much, like Kumail Nanjiani comes by a lot now. And Dimitri Martin was really exciting because I ran into him at the reptile store. He was getting a tortoise with his kids. And I was like, Dimitri, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then he came and his special was coming out. So he came and did some spots and that was really fun. It's exciting to get the audience, you know, and I don't always put people on the flyer. I keep them as special guests too. And it's really fun to see the audience freak out. Like Sebastian was a special guest on the last one. And people just go nuts. It's so fun.
Now, is there obviously comedians? Is there a little competition? Who can bring the house down the most in the Anniewood?
On the Anniewood shows? I always think they're just everyone's doing well. But I do try to, if I have like one of the newer comics, I try to put them in a place that's not going to totally them. I'm like, I want everyone to succeed. There's no benefit to me or to the audience if there's like a clunker in the middle. And I would never book someone that I don't think couldn't like.
Listen, you're new. I'm gonna put you in between Bill Burr and Sebastian. Good luck.
Exactly.
That's where you're going.
Sometimes though, because with the bigger guys, I will always accommodate their schedules. So every once in a while, but I'll usually try to go in between because I love following people where it feels like it's going to be hard to follow them. Yeah, I love that.
Well, this weekend, Jacksonville folks have y'all to themselves. They got nobody to follow.
Wait. It's going to be so fun.
It's going to be fantastic. This weekend, Friday and Saturday, you got to hear her at the Comedy Zone. Annie, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was so fun. It was fun to geek out about comedy.
Of course. We will be right back here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard Annie Lederman right here on the Doc G Show. My goodness, Mike. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Such a nice lady. Such a good comedian. You know, a bunch of... I'm sad that you couldn't be a part of that interview.
Me too.
You were busy with life, man. But, you know, because we got to nerd out about comedy. Your deal. You know? And I was thinking about asking you, because, you know, she's one of those people, and I feel like it's I actually think I might have talked to you about this, our first interview. I can't remember. I didn't go back and look at it. But, were you one of those people? Because she was one of those people that didn't really ever look into stand-up before she did it. It was just sort of one of those things like, hey, I like being funny. What options are there to be funny? Oh, there's this thing that you go on stage and you do. Okay, I'll try that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the other ones that are like the scientists, right? That have watched it so much and they know everything about it, and they're like, that's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to approach it. Here's what I'm going to do. What were you? Did you watch stand-up before you became a stand-up?
Yeah, I think I fell somewhere in the middle. I didn't do a ton of research, but I definitely watched stand-up. And then I decided to go to a couple open mics, watch those.
Scope it out first.
Yeah, see what's... You know, and then I feel like this is the thing, where it's like you go to an open mic and eventually somebody comes on stage and you're like,
they are horrible.
Definitely do better than that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of
that's
like
the confidence booster.
Yeah,
yeah. I have not done that in an open mic comedy. I've done that in open mic music before. We definitely did that, and we saw some people that came up on stage and we were like, "What is that?" We definitely got more than that. That is. Yeah. Now, were you like her and a lot of the other did you completely bomb the first open mic, or did you do good?
Oh, no, I bombed so hard, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, that's
terrible.
pretty much. I think I've only heard like one or two people.
I got heckled my first time.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was so bad I got heckled.
No, the exact same thing happened to our friend Alfred Robles. Alfred went up there and he basically was bombing for a good like 5 minutes, and he was wearing, back in like the early 2000s, the shirts with the flames at the bottom, sort of like Guy Fieri wore.
Yeah.
He was wearing one of those, and a dude heckled him with that. He just stood up and he's like, "Dude, you're on fire." and Alfred,
hilarious.
Alfred had like, he was such like in the zone, and he didn't even realize he was talking about the shirt, and he was just like, "Yeah, thanks, bro. All right, yeah," and it's like goes on into it. But I also with Annie, talking about the crowd work, when she said, some comedians don't like it because they don't do any crowd work. I immediately thought of you, Mike. I was like, oh, that sucks. Mike does not do any crowd work.
No, I don't.
Are you going to add any? Are you going to try to?
I actually, there's a little, like when I do headlining sets, there is a part where I'll ask like if anybody's met on the internet. And I really love hearing about people's stories meeting on the internet because it's just full of jokes.
Yeah,
People meet on AOL, they meet on Yahoo, they meet on
Craigslist,
Plenty of Fish. It's like there's jokes for every single one of them.
It was an ad for a serial killer.
Yeah.
I answered. It was nice.
Great to have you at the show.
Yeah, you should start doing the Alfred Robles.
Yeah.
You should start hooking people up at your show. That's what he did. It's wild. It's wild. But yeah, I mean, Annie's she's just fantastic. Super nice.
Yeah.
Maybe someday I'll get to check out the reptile room. Maybe I'll get to wear a snake or two.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. That's what I'm hoping. But anyways, Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C. Top 3.
Woo! Mike, my goodness. I was not ready for how hard this topic was.
This was kind of challenging.
I literally have like 35 honorable mentions.
That's a fact.
Yeah, me too.
Now, let me ask you a question real quick before we start.
Okay.
Sports documentary. Can that be allowed or no?
I mean, I was definitely thinking of like
actual movies.
Yeah, movies.
Theatrical movies.
Yeah.
Okay. I want switch my list. That's fine. Okay. I had it. I had both options accounted for. So just to clear the air on that one, that would have been The Last Dance.
We could do sports documentaries next week.
We could do.
Oh, you got that.
We could do sports. The Last Dance was going to be number one. Because come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike. So we're gonna. I'm guessing we're doing honorable mentions after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start out with a banger. I'm starting out with a big one for number 3. One of my favorites for a very long time, Without Limits. Without
Limits. I don't know that one, actually.
Without Limits, it's about Steve Prefontaine, the greatest American distance runner of all time.
So true.
Billy Crudup plays Steve Prefontaine, and Donald Sutherland actually played his coach, Bill Bowerman, in the movie. R.I.P. Donald Sutherland. I was very sad to see that he passed away. But yes, Without Limits, such a good movie. You just realize how bad Prefontaine was. Just a hard runner. Just ran without limits. He just did not it's so good. Mike, watch that movie and tell me you are not inspired afterwards. You're like,
all right,
I'm gonna go get my run on right now. I'm getting it. Mike, you're number 3. What do you got?
My number 3, Blue Chips.
A Shaquille O'Neal movie.
No surprise.
All right.
His only sports movie.
You know, it's a pretty good one. I can't deny. It didn't make my honorable mentions. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say it was up there, but it's good. I like it.
It was definitely just like a nostalgic one for me, but also that was like the first time I ever watched an alley-oop.
Yeah.
And as a as like a theatrical alley-oop.
Yeah.
To see that.
Yeah. Can't get much more dramatic than that.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Mike, my number 2 got a lot of connections to this one. Got a lot of love for this one. Remember the Titans.
Say what?
Remember the Titans. If you have never watched Remember the Titans, listeners, it's a football movie. It's about integration in the 60s in Virginia.
So true.
2 schools, an all-white school and an all-black school, come together to make a new school, T.C. Williams. And they have to play football together. And it's got an amazing cast. It's got, I don't know, Denzel Washington as the coach. Or, also, this is like one of his first movies ever. Ryan Gosling's in it as well.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he plays a receiver in the film. I watched it the other night. I hadn't watched it in a while, Mike, and I was just like, oh, my God. And this has a real special place in my heart, Mike, because, as you know, I grew up in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And my senior year in high school, I met the actual Coach Boone from the movie.
So true.
So this is a true story. The occurrence of these 2 schools coming together, all of that actually happened. And I met the guy that Denzel Washington played. I met the real Coach Boone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he told me he liked my hair.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. It's a very good movie, Mike. I will say, watch that movie and try not to be inspired.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie. I know it's a popular one, but
it will get. Also, Donald Faison is also in that movie. He plays Petey in that movie. The guy from Scrubs, that guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywho, Mike, your number 2.
My number 2, definitely not on your honorable mentions, but Brink. I count it. Brink is a movie about rollerblading.
Okay.
And Doc G,
you've brought that up before. You've brought Brink up.
It's a pastime of mine.
Oh yeah, we know that.
It's one of my favorite. One of my favorite, probably Disney movies.
Nice.
I mean, but yeah, Brink. It's about a bunch of rollerbladers, and they get into a X Games style competition with each other, and all kinds of. They go to school and they do a street skating competition, and one of them get hurt. They get hurt and they get in trouble, and there's a lot of drama. It's about rollerblading. Great movie.
That was on your Disney list.
Oh, it was. Okay, well, it's back.
Yeah, I think Remember the Titans was on my Disney list because it is a Disney movie. I think I have to go back and listen to. Man, that one we've dug so many from that Disney list. My goodness.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, Mike, my number 1. Rocky.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I mean, it's just, and honestly, I'll put the whole Rocky series in it. Drop Rocky 5 because that one's just stupid. But all the other ones, like, it's just such a good series. And 1 is the best. 1 is the best because it has the best life moment. It has the best life lesson. You can go the distance. You may not win, but you can go the distance, and you can be satisfied with your performance. You gave it your all, and you know what? That was good enough. And it's just an amazing movie, man. It's great acting.
Yeah, Rocky. Awesome movie.
And it's got good tunes. It's got the training sequences. It's just everything about it.
The run up the stairs moment.
The running up the stairs moment when
dancing around.
Yeah, so many when he wins over Adrian for the first time. Oh, man. It's a good movie. Fantastic movie.
Great movie.
Mike, you're number one.
Take a guess, Doc G. What do you think my number one is?
I honestly don't know.
No?
Honestly don't know.
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Space Jam 1. I mean, let's be real. Space Jam 1.
It was on my honorable mention, Mike. It was on my honorable mention. Because, like, honestly, like I said, it's good acting. Good acting. I'm putting in quotes. It wasn't amazing, but it was good acting, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, if I want to see Michael, I want to see him be Michael, you know? I want to see him be in his element. I want the documentary Michael, you know?
Yeah.
And it is very nostalgic, though. It was, and I did think about on the top 3. I was like, is Space Jam going to go on there? You know? Because it just, I mean, it was ahead of its time. It's ahead of its time. And he's playing with cartoons. How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's wild, man. Blew my mind. I was a little kid.
Yeah. And
I watched that movie. I instantly went out and started playing basketball. I had no idea what I was doing. I was traveling. I was dunking. It was a little Tykes.
Nice.
Little basketball hoop. I was Michael Jordan.
And you got Bill Murray in that movie too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah.
If you ever watch him like that, you know, that was when Jordan was coming back to the NBA when they filmed that. That was in between baseball and basketball. And where they were filming that, they made him his own like workout center. And it's one of the coolest things ever. They had a full basketball court in there and like 30 different pieces of weight room equipment. And I'm just like, and it's all in like this bubble. They called it the Jordan Dome. And I was just like, that is so awesome. Like,
yeah. But to watch some of those pickup games too, that would have been so sick.
Yeah. I mean, you had Grant Hill there. You had Reggie Miller. You had Karl Malone. It had everybody out there. Anyways, Mike, let's get some honorable mentions. This may take a little while. First, I got We Are Marshall. You ever seen We Are Marshall?
I don't think so.
Matthew McConaughey plays the
the baseball movie.
No, football. Plays the head coach of Marshall University. Very good. Very good. Two more documentaries. So, you know, that Ultimate Jordan, his airness. Very good. Also, Hoop Dreams. Classic documentary. Yes.
Okay.
Very good one. You follow 2 high school basketball players as they're trying to get to college in the late 80s, early 90s. And you just feel for these dudes in life. Arthur and William, that's the 2 players, and you're just like, man, it's so good, so good. Then Invincible, ever seen Invincible?
I don't think
that's
so.
That's another Disney movie. That's the true story about Vince Papale. Vince Papale, who walked on to the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles in the 70s, with Mark Wahlberg.
He was like an older guy. He just went to the tryouts.
Very good movie. Very good movie. Like that one a lot. One of my Philly friends said a lot of that was sort of fabricated. They really did some, you know, elaboration on the real story. But I'm like, whatever. It's a good movie. Fun. Karate Kid, Mike.
Karate Kid.
Yeah, classic 80s. I mean, it's not super sports, but come on.
Yeah.
It's just fun. Just fun.
I mean, Brink wasn't like proper sports, but you know.
Semi-pro.
Semi-pro. Yeah, that was on my.
I think I might have to say that's my favorite ever sports comedy.
Yeah.
That's just so good. So good. And then I got Space Jam, of course. Kicking and Screaming. Kicking and Screaming. Not as good as Semi-Pro, but still funny. Will Ferrell comedy there. Ali. And don't worry, Will, I still haven't forgot about the slap. I put you there, but I haven't forgotten about it. So that movie.
Hence the late mention and honorable
Exactly. Blindside. A lot of things you find out about that story. There's a lot of weird things going on there, but
Blindside, yeah.
But still, really good movie. Then Any Given Sunday. And without a doubt, I would not have to. I could call him right now, but I would guarantee you 1,000% my brother's favorite sports movie of all time.
So true.
I know that's going number one on his list if he had the list here.
Any Given Sunday?
Any Given Sunday, 1,000%. He could basically quote that whole movie for you from beginning to end right now.
That's awesome.
And if you want to get fired up on that movie, go watch Al Pacino's speech in that movie before the last game.
I watched it. I've watched it. Yeah, it's a great speech.
That's a good one. Dodgeball, not as good as Semi-Pro, but a great comedy.
That's a good one.
Yep. The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg.
Sweet.
It's another real lifer. It's about Mickey Ward. And Mark Wahlberg plays Mickey Ward. Christian Bale brilliantly plays Mickey's brother, Dickie Ward, who's strung out on drugs most of the movie. Very good. Very good. Then lastly, Raging Bull and Bull Durham. Two very good classic movies right there. All right, Mike. That was my 47. I could have included so many other ones. There are so many other good movies that I did not have listed there.
Jeez.
Okay. I've got a couple.
Okay.
I'll go through them very quickly. This was actually going to be number 3 for me, but Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah. Very good one.
Happy Gilmore.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Should have had Happy on mine.
Air. I like the Air.
Oh yeah, Air was.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. That should have gone on my honorable mentions. That was good. I mean, the music on Air should be on there just for that alone. Such a good soundtrack, man. It was a great soundtrack. And then Jason Bateman really made that movie. But that's really just Jason Bateman being Jason Bateman. It wasn't him acting like
amazing.
somebody. But anyways, continue.
Yeah. And then what else? The Sandlot. Great movie.
Killing me, Smalls.
Little Giants. I mean, it counts.
Yeah, that counts.
Little Giants. Mighty Ducks.
Oh yeah, I thought about Mighty
Ducks.
Ducks. I thought that was close.
Yeah, I liked Mighty Ducks. And lastly, Field of Dreams.
Yeah, I thought about putting Field of Dreams on there. That's a super classic right there.
Yeah.
That's a super classic.
So.
I thought about A League of Their Own too. You remember A League of Their Own? It's about the women's baseball league.
Oh yeah, with Tom
Hanks is the coach. Rosie O'Donnell's in it. Madonna's in it.
Madonna was in it.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. It's definitely a really good one. But anyways, Mike, fantastic top 3.
Good top 3.
That one should have been a top 50. Anywho,
for sure.
Mike, what are we doing next week?
I don't know. Do you want to try sports documentaries? I mean, I know you mentioned...
You want to do just... I mean, documentaries might be too open if we just say documentaries. You want to do...
sports documentaries.
You want to do Well, I feel like sports documentaries is a little too specific. Have you watched enough 30 for 30s?
I've watched... I've watched it. Yeah, I've watched enough 30 for 30s to have a top 3.
Okay,
for sure.
Let's
do top 30 for 30s. Okay, good. Good.
I've watched pretty much all of them.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good ones. This is going to be tough for me to choose.
There've been a few that I've just had to basically buy.
Yeah,
that I bought to watch.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, they're good, man. They're good.
Yeah, they are.
Mike, we're going to move on. Listeners, make sure you get your top 3, 30 for 30. There we go. Mike, we got 2 birthday suits left. I'm going to go comedian/actor for... Well, he's never done any stand-up or anything, but he's always in funny acting situations here. Born on June 26, 1970 in Joliet, Illinois. Our birthday suit wearer enjoyed acting from a young age. He also enjoyed carpentry from a young age. He ended up going to the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. After college, he started participating in theater groups. He met Amy Poehler at this time. He started getting small roles in sitcoms like Will and Grace and King of Queens and The George Lopez Show. Amy Poehler and producer Greg Daniels decided to offer our birthday suit wearer the role of Ron Swanson in Parks and Recreation. This character introduced our birthday suit wearer to the world. Since Parks and Rec, he has appeared in a few small roles like the movie The Founder. He just recently starred in the movie Civil War, where he played the President of the United States. Name that birthday suit wearer. Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec. Guy with a beard, brown hair, deadpan reactions, deadpan face.
Nick Overton?
Close, very close.
Nick,
Change that last name a little bit.
Nick, man.
Girl, come on.
I can't remember. I'm blanking out on his last name. I'll take 50%. It's okay.
Nick Offerman. Offerman. So close, Mike. So close. Yes, Nick Offerman, man. Interesting career. Like, just, and I mean, it's interesting. He, like, a ton of Ron Swanson is Nick Offerman. Like, that's just him being him. But he juiced it up in a lot of areas. And then, of course, they added some political touches in there and stuff. But, yeah. Interesting guy. And he's married to, I forget her name, but the lady from Will and Grace. I think it's Megan something. Megan Mullally. Yeah, Megan Mullally. He's in commercials with her. They used to do these swinging commercials together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the funny part is I didn't notice. I didn't know this. She's like 12 years older than him, I think, or something like that. Pretty wild. Yeah. Anywho, happy birthday, Nick Offerman. Mike, you can get this last one 2.5 for 3. All
right.
It's not a 2 for 3. It's not a 3 for 3, but
I'll take
2.5. Born on June 26, 1992 in San Quentin, France. Our birthday suit wearer's father played professional basketball and passed his love of the sport on to his son. He started playing at a young age. He started his professional career in France when he was 17 years old. When he was 21 in 2013, he declared for the NBA draft. He was selected 27th overall by the Denver Nuggets, but was traded on draft night to the Utah Jazz. In 2022, he was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Since joining the NBA, he has had an amazing career already. He has been Defensive Player of the Year 4 times.
Jeez.
He has been All-NBA 4 times. He has been NBA Rebound Leader once and the NBA Block Leader once. And he has been an NBA All-Star 3 times. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Rudy Gobert?
Rudy Gobert is correct. Yes, is. There we go, man. Whew. The Eiffel Tower there. My goodness. Just a defender. Just, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Gets a bad rap. People don't seem to like Rudy. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. I always thought was it the COVID thing?
COVID thing threw a lot of people
off. The COVID
off.
thing.
Understandable,
Yeah.
I don't. He did not understand how bad it was going to be. I don't think. Don't think he realized the gravity of the situation at the time.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "You killed Donovan Mitchell, you bag." He's like, "Oh, sorry about that." Mike, he's turning 32, Rudy Gobert. So there we go. Happy birthday to Rudy. Happy birthday to Nick. And lastly there, happy birthday to Ariana Grande. So there we go. Mike, we need to wrap it up for this week, but we have some fantastic folks coming on the show. My goodness. We've got Sonny Golage coming on the show. That's going to be just terrific. We've got Morgan J coming on the show. Oh, my gosh. The folks, they keep coming. I can't wait for these shows. They're going to be good. But we need to wrap it up. I have been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey, Maximus, the Verticus, Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.